By Congressman Gregory Meeks, New York Democrat and chair of the Congressional Black Caucus PAC. Congressman, thanks so much for being here.
Good being with you. Don't have much of a voice, but it's great being with you.
And you don't have much of a voice because have you been up all night there on the House floor?
We've been on the floor, yes. I took about an hour's nap, but we're going right back to the floor as soon as I finish here.
And Congressman, how long can you keep this up?
We're going to keep it up. We're going to make sure we are here at least for 24 hours a day, but whenever Congress comes back into session, we will continue. We said, and we are serious about the fact that if there's no bill, there'll be no break. When we come back, even while we're on break, there'll be things that will be going on. Folks will be here. We will continue to fight until we get a vote on a couple of bills. So these are bipartisan bills that we're asking for these votes on.
And so, Congressman, I mean, the Republicans aren't expected back till July 5th. You're saying that people will be there in the House floor for the next better part of 2 weeks?
I'm saying that we will have strategies to continue this fight. We're not giving this fight up. We will have a whip meeting today where we will continue to discuss and strategize. We talked to John Lewis last night again, and John says he's going to be back out here. So this is not something that we're going to give up on. The American people, you know, and this is great democracy of ours, demands that we have a vote so that everyone knows where everyone stands on these bills. It is extremely important, and we're just not going to, anyway, give in so that we can just come, as Congress has done, and just have a moment of silence after tragedy after tragedy.
Yeah.
That cannot happen no more.
Congressman, we've had Republicans, several on our show this morning, and they say that they are trying to prevent Americans from having their constitutional rights taken away if people are mistakenly on the terror list, that they should not be denied their access to purchase a gun. What's your response?
My response to that is that's ridiculous. In other words, we can work. If they are serious, we should be able to debate and work and come up with something. And I think we have. That's why in the bills that we put forward, it is simply to say that if you are on the no-fly list, then until such time that we can show or you can show that you don't belong on that list, then you don't have a weapon. That's for the good of the public. To be able to just go in to buy weapons of mass destruction, and I consider the type of weapons that have been utilized weapons of mass destruction, just doesn't make common sense. But to be able to purchase a gun, and we're talking about the loophole, because there's two different things. If you go into Walmart, for example, then you have to have a background check. But if you go to buy something off the internet or one of the gun shows, you don't have to have a background check. Yeah. And so it just makes sense. We've already, if we're doing partial background checks and you know that there is a hole someplace, fill that hole for the benefit of the nation.
And in fact, Americans seem to support that overwhelmingly in all of the latest polls. However, we had Congressman Sean Duffy, one of your colleagues on the Republican side, on just a few minutes ago, and he also said that your focus is in the wrong place. You should be focusing on terrorism, not guns. Let me play for you what he says.
How does this list work? How do you get off it? That's a reasonable conversation. Why aren't we debating terrorism? Why are we debating guns? Listen, the conversation should be, Director Comey at the FBI, a great guy, he has great agents, but something's missing at the FBI. We let again, Boston, San Bernardino, and now Orlando slip through the cracks. Something's going wrong. We should have a conversation about what tools do they need.
Okay, so a couple of things. Number one, he thinks that the FBI should do better investigations. But in terms of terrorism, his point, and we've heard it before, if you deny, terrorists will always be able to get their hands on guns, or they'll make pressure cookers, or they'll have knives. They will still perpetrate their crimes, and that's what you should be focused on.
Look, it seems to me that that's just absolutely ridiculous. Number one, when you look at the fact in America, 33,000 people lost their lives because of guns and weapons. And so many of them, some by terrorists, some by not. So we need to do something in that regards. Clearly, we are fighting the terrorists but what we have now is these individuals, some who are domestic, who are self-motivated. And as a result, we must make sure that they don't have access to these weapons, nor, when you look at the suicides that have been taking place, etc., people with mental illnesses, we got to make sure that we work collectively. do more than one thing at any time. We are fighting the terrorists. There's no question about that. If you look at the job that we're doing, whether it's abroad and now protecting ourselves at home, it is what our responsibility is. We should be able to do more than one thing. When you think about the Republicans and how much money they spent, for example, when unfortunately, 4 Americans died in Benghazi.
Yes.
And look how much money they've spent there, and yet we can't talk when we got 33,000 Americans that are dying.
Yeah.
No, we've got to talk about that, and we got to talk about it on the House floor, and we need a vote.
Yep. Congressman Gregory Meeks, we will be watching what unfolds there on the floor today. Thank you for taking time.